Why do sports have rules? Now, you would hope that any reasonable, semi-intelligent adult would know the answer to this question straight away. However, sadly, the so-called sport, and actually it's a show, of Formula One seeks to attract viewers who don't know the answer to this. It seeks to attract vulnerable children who have been brought up to pursue a hedonistic lifestyle with no understanding of values, societal values and sporting values, but just enjoy self-gratification. And it seeks to excite these people and condition them to believe that anything is possible, it's all okay, as long as you're having a lovely time and as long as you remain excited. Now, I try to make these videos educational, so I'll just explain to the younger viewers what hedonistic means. If you type it into your search engine, I don't recommend Bing, I need to change this. What does hedonist mean? Okay, this one here is a good definition. Hedonist definition: a person whose life is devoted to the pursuit of pleasure and self-gratification. Now, I also like to use simplistic terms. A simplistic term for self-gratification and self-pleasure is wanker. And the sport of Formula One seeks to attract wankers. And we have them in abundance. Going back to the video I did about the race, we had the usual suspects, the people that have chosen to follow my channel. They don't like what it is that's being presented, but they've chosen to subscribe with the sole intention of, as soon as any content is published, they will make a comment about it. This is the extent of their brains. This is how they are motivated to behave in life. And our resident troll, Adolf Lundgren here, commented, "Lol." So the guy was laughing out loud as he was making his comment. What an insane video. Now, insane does that mean it's crazy, or does that mean it's incredible? Because again, the use of language does change over the years. So are you using the word insane there, Dolph, to describe my video as being incredible or crazy? Only you know. 1 hour and 30 exclamation mark minutes about a 9min factual and correct video. Not even watched it yet. But you thought you'd comment, didn't you, Adolf? Not even watched it yet, but you will probably go insane about everything. So thank you for that valuable insight, Adolf. 8 people, 8 of your fellow circle jerkers have liked that. You found your crew. You found your like-minded people, your fellow Max Verstappen fanboys who don't understand anything, just like Max. I like Max Verstappen, okay? I am pleased that Max won the World Championship, so it must be right. There's nothing wrong with this, and I will try and argue to the best of my ability that everything was okay. But you lack any understanding whatsoever. You want to project that other people don't know what they're talking about. You like to project that other people have an inability to process information and determine factual information. And yet you're the person that has no clue whatsoever. We have another one of the wankers, Chasman here. By the dictionary definition, this is a conspiracy theory situation. Okay, Thanks for that, Chasman. A conspiracy theory, the term conspiracy theorist is something that has been designed and actually weaponized to purposefully undermine people who are exposing things that those that are in control do not want exposing. So what they try to do is undermine the notion by presenting that somebody is coming out with this wild and convoluted imagination, dreamt up explanation that can't possibly be true. Ridiculous that somebody could even think that that was possible. Oh, they're just some wild conspiracy theorist. Okay, and quite that is how the term, that's how people understand that term. When the reality is, certain things happen when certain parties conspire to make them happen. There is no theory when you can evidence that that has taken place. When you can see things with your own eyes, when there is video evidence of something having taken place, there is no theory, it's just is, which means it's a fact. It actually took place. And yet we have the likes of Chasman that doesn't understand that, but likes to try to undermine and project that the person that is making the content is somehow being offensive. That is this wanker all over. Now we have, as we scroll up, we have the other usual suspects like we've got Yerry, he's a twat. We've got Adolf Lundgren, David CP, he's another resident troll. We've got ERK32, he's another wanker. There's several of them. We know who they are. But it's this comment that I need to address by Adolf. Now, Adolf likes to try to always be there in the comment section to undermine and discredit, but he occasionally attempts to draw you in. And this is one of his attempts to draw you in. So it's, James, I just want to run something by you. I want to understand why you think sporting fairness is important for the unlapping. Because nowhere in the rules does it say unlapping is mandatory. Only that it can be done. Right, we'll go through this because this is just how ridiculous this supposed adult, but with a very limited childish mind, likes to try to project his knowledge. Also, the sporting code talks about conducting the sport based on safety and sporting fairness, so that no competitor will be disallowed the competition, right? You think the rules have to be conducted to ensure the participation of all competitors to ensure sporting fairness, right? I think I understand why you think sporting fairness is so important for unlapping, and we might get this out of the way and agree. Okay, so we know what your motives are here, Adolf, but I'm going to go through this with you just to spell it out to you and the rest of the trolls that clearly don't understand, because you are one of these small-minded individuals that this sport seeks to attract because it likes to keep you excited. Okay, you thrive on being excited by something. The only reason you began to follow Formula One is that you got excited by the notion of fast cars. You were told anything can happen. You were told it's fine when you've got somebody like Max Verstappen that just crashes into another car, and it's exciting for you to see an accident, two cars spinning off the track at 150 miles an hour. That's fun for you. Those of us that have been watching the sport for 35 years have actually witnessed things where drivers have died. We don't see that as being entertaining. That concerns us greatly. But you being children, you think that is somehow really exciting. Now, this is something that I need to switch screens for. If you type in Oh, for some reason it's got definition of a vulnerable person. That is what you people are. You are vulnerable people because you lack the brain to be able to determine things for yourself, and you are easily influenced. And this sport of Formula One has preyed upon that. It has preyed on your vulnerable minds. It has conducted abuses against you, but you don't realise this. The search was, why do sports have laws? Sports have rules to prevent injuries during practice and in games. So if we look at football, for example, if we still allow the kind of tackling that took place in the sport in the 70s and 80s, you would see a lot more players with broken legs and career-ending injuries. Hence, there are rules. In the sport of rugby union, there are rules involving scrummaging and tackling, purposefully designed to try and minimise the instance of concussions and neck injuries. So there are safety concerns in the sport of Formula One. There are rules of engagement regarding overtaking to minimise the chances of crashing and therefore drivers sustaining injury for crashing. The sport, the FIA, the governing body of the sport, neglected to enforce those rules in 2021 to purposefully gift Max Verstappen every advantage possible to overcome Lewis Hamilton. That is a fact. So, not only are the rules there to prevent injuries and enhance player safety, they are there to encourage sportsmanship and respect for teammates, opponents, coaches, officials, and spectators. So, the respect for your opponent, the willingness to abide by the rules of the sport and beat them in accordance within the rules of the sport, not just break the rules just to take them out of the sport. And the respect for the spectator. The spectator watches the sport with the knowledge of what it is they are watching. When the sport's governing body breaks those rules, what respect for the spectator does that sport's governing body have? What respect for the spectator does the broadcaster have when the broadcaster lies about the rules of the sports? Rules also provide an agreement of understanding to competition and define what is allowed or not allowed to occur during situations on and off the court. If we scroll down a little bit, if you just go down a little bit on the page, sports have laws in place to ensure safety of participants, the integrity of the game, and the creation of a fair competition. Does that mean sporting fairness? A fair competition? Sporting fairness, is that the same thing? Fair competition, sporting fairness, just two ways of saying the same thing. That is the purpose of laws, of rules, of regulations. They all mean the same thing. Why do sports have rules? Well, that is the purpose. So if we go to this article and have a look down what this article says. Sports have laws in place to ensure the safety of the participants, the integrity of the game, and the creation of fair competition, i.e. sporting fairness. It's got the table of contents. Why do sports have rules? Why do you need to follow the rules and regulations when playing a game? The rules establish an understanding for competitiveness, an understanding by all teams and all competitors. That understanding, all teams and all competitors were abiding by those safety car rules since they were reintroduced as in their current format in 2012. Red Bull participated in 199 Grand Prix under those rules without contesting those rules up until it got to Abu Dhabi, where at Abu Dhabi 2021, Red Bull decided to try and protest that those weren't the rules. In sports, regulations specify what is and is not permitted to happen on and off the court. Rules regulate everything from correct uniform wear to how to maintain score during games of various levels of play. Without rules, there would be no way to determine who wins and loses. Okay, it goes on to about business working environments, health and safety at work. Create a fair playing field where everyone can compete equally. Sporting fairness to all competitors. A fair playing field where everyone can compete equally. Okay? In games such as tennis, soccer, and basketball, following regulations is necessary so that the game remains competitive. Okay, it gives an example which is a poor example there. What is the ethics of sports? Healthy competition is viewed as a method of fostering personal dignity, virtue, and character under a sportsmanship paradigm. 4. Fundamental attributes are required in sporting ethics: fairness, honesty, accountability, and respect. Fairness. All players and coaches must abide by the rules and criteria of their respective sports. Now, I'm going to go back to them. Fairness, honesty, accountability, and respect. These are characteristics that these filthy troll wankers that jump up in the comment section lack. These are characteristics that these filthy, cheating Redbull personnel in Christian Horner, Adrian Newey, and Jonathan Wheatley lack. That is the type of individuals that these filthy, corrupt fuckers are. These are the characteristics that all of the Sky Sports F1 presentation team lack. These are the characteristics, the ethics that everybody in FIA lack. Filthy, corrupt individuals. And we have Adolf here that wants to run something by me and wants to understand why I think that sporting fairness is important for unlapping, because Adolf believes that nowhere in the rules does it say unlapping is mandatory. Well, let's have a look at those rules, Adolf. Let's have a look. 48.12 is the safety car rule that is concerning. You can have a look at 48, the whole of it, which is the whole section relates to the safety car. At no point does it say optional to any of these procedures, which means they have to be done. If something has to be done, it means it has to be done. You can use the term mandatory. This is the rule, this is the procedure, this is how you have to do it. You can use the term mandatory for that. Don't argue with me, that is just the way it is. So 48.12, and the words are important. They are written this way because of reasons. If the clerk of the course considers it safe to do so. I will read that bit again. If the clerk of the course considers it safe to do so. It's based on safety, isn't it? There is a safety car. The safety car is deployed because of a safety incident. So that safety incident has to be dealt with, and then you remove the safety car. The safety car is no longer required once the safety incident has been appropriately dealt with. It's based on safety. Health and safety in the workplace, in sport, in any industry is a major consideration. There are massive legal implications. Things have to be done the right way, because if things go wrong through not being done the right way, there is huge litigation consequences for that. Hence, the procedures being what they are in terms of how they deal with clearing the track and how they do the unlapping procedure in relation to the marshals. Now, in the past, you might have seen it done differently. You might be able to go through the historic Grand Prix and see marshals on track at different points. But they evolve their procedures when they determine that something is unsafe, and they say, well, we won't be doing it that way again because that is a risk. So we need to amend our procedures. In 2021, their procedure is you are not going to be releasing those lapped cars whilst there are men on the track. If you do that, you are doing that in error. If you don't understand that, which many of you clearly don't, that is your failing, not mine. Don't argue with me about it. Go and educate yourself. Go and learn. Do not try to argue with me on that because you are wrong. So, if the clerk of the course considers it safe to do so, and the message, lapped cars may now overtake, has been sent to all competitors. Okay, so we have got this notion of once the last lapped car, and any doesn't necessarily mean all. These fake Redbull arguments, okay? The message, lapped cars may now overtake, has been sent to all competitors. So if you are a lapped car, if you know that you, as a competitor, have had the leader of that race pass you, you've had blue flags waved at you because the leader is coming up and passing you. This 48.12 says all competitors are told lapped cars may now overtake. So you, having been lapped, get the message, you may now overtake. Lapped cars, oh yeah, that's me. You may now overtake. Okay? Any cars that have been lapped by the... Oh, that doesn't say all. That doesn't say all. That doesn't say all. That doesn't... That. See, wankers, shut the fuck up. Okay? This is a descriptive word that applies in this context to all cars. Any cars that have been lapped by the leader will be required. Okay? If there is a requirement for a car that has been lapped to then pass the cars on the lead lap and the safety car, you don't pick and choose who is required. Okay? This is the caveat here, but it did not apply in Abu Dhabi, and this is why. This will only apply to cars that were lapped at the time they crossed the line at the end of the lap, during which they crossed the first safety car line for the second time after the safety car was deployed. So I will give you the example of Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly was ahead of Lewis Hamilton at the point in time where Latifi crashed. So, had the safety car been deployed and Gasly was ahead of the safety car, so Gasly is on the lead lap. And had they then been lapping for and crossed that safety car line twice, and after that point in time, AlphaTauri pitted Gasly for tyres, and whilst Gasly was in the pits, the safety car snake went by, dropping Gasly a lap behind in effect. He is not eligible to unlap. That is what that section of that paragraph means. What you will see happen in Abu Dhabi is that AlphaTauri waited until Gasly was far enough ahead of that safety car whereby he could pit and get back out of the pits before the safety car came round, meaning that he would not get lapped in that manner. Okay? That is the circumstance where you're not eligible to unlap. The race director, we have seen, apply this notion of if somebody has been lapped twice or by the entire field, but by 2 laps, he might give them 1 lap back, but he's not going to let them get 2 laps back. Okay, so they're the different caveats within the rules that you apply. But everything else, if you look at all of them lapped cars in Abu Dhabi, they'd just been lapped by the leader. None of them cars became lapped whilst they were pitting under the safety car situation. Hence, they are all eligible for this procedure, which is a mandatory procedure. It then says, having overtaken the cars on the lead lap and the safety car, these cars should then proceed around the track at the appropriate speed without overtaking and make every effort to take up position at the back of the line of cars behind the safety car. Whilst they are overtaking, and in order to ensure that this may be carried out safely, the cars on the lead lap must always stay on the racing line unless deviating from it is unavoidable. Unless the clerk of the course considers the presence of the safety car is still necessary, once the last lapped car has passed the leader and the safety car, once the last lapped car has passed the leader, the safety car will return to the pits at the end of the following lap. Which means if they are the last lapped car, and there were 8 lap cars, which means the last of those is the 8th car, if that passes the safety car and the leader at the end of lap 56, the safety car will return to the pits at the end of lap 57. That 8th car never passed the safety car because the safety car was withdrawn before that procedure was carried out. That is breaking the rules of the sport. So the rules were broken on lap 57 by not carrying them out fully. Now, this bottom part of 48.12, and relate this to the top part of 48.12. If the clerk of the course considers track conditions are unsuitable for overtaking, the message "overtaking will not be permitted" will be sent to all competitors via the official messaging system. So the top part says, if the clerk of the course considers it safe to do so, and the message "lapped cars may now overtake" has been sent to all competitors via the official messaging system, any cars that have been lapped by the leader will be required to pass. The bottom part says, if the clerk of the course considers the track conditions are unsuitable for overtaking, the message "overtaking will not be permitted." Now, what you saw in Abu Dhabi was the message "lapped cars will not be allowed to overtake." That message is not an official message within the regulations of the sport. The alarm bell should be ringing there. Now, if the clerk of the course considers track conditions are unsuitable for overtaking, if you are racing, and let's ignore the Belgian Parade 2021 because that wasn't a race. If you are racing, you need to be able to have the opportunity, the ability to overtake your opponents. If there is no overtaking, that doesn't constitute racing, does it? If you cannot overtake, then what are you doing? You're just following the person that's in front of you because you're not allowed to overtake them. That's not a race. That's just parading round one behind the other. If the clerk of the course considers track conditions are unsuitable for overtaking, the message "overtaking will not be permitted." So do you think that racing happens if overtaking will not be permitted? Do you think you can resume racing if overtaking isn't permitted? So if it isn't permitted, you're not racing. Racing cannot resume. Go back to the start. If the clerk of the course considers it safe to do so, you'll get the message "lapped cars may now overtake." It makes it mandatory. So you will hear Martin Brundle saying, I don't think they have to release the lap cars. I think that's optional. None of these regulations are optional. Martin Brundle has been saying that for 10 years, and in 10 years you've not seen it happen once. It's not optional. This is lying. This is gaslighting. You have the rules in front of you. You can read them. Now, what do you believe? Do you believe me? Or do you believe Martin Brundle? Oh, I believe Martin Brundle because Martin Brundle's the expert. Martin Brundle's a former Formula One driver. Martin Brundle's the man that's now been presenting in this sport for 30 years. He knows. He's the expert. Martin Brundle is the one going, I don't think it's mandatory. I think this is up to the race director to decide what he wants to do. You're wrong, Martin. Show me the evidence of the last 10 years where that statement holds any water whatsoever. Show me the part of the rules or regulations which validate in any way what you are saying, Martin Brundle. It's a lie. What do you do, Martin Brundle? Well, you are employed by the sports broadcaster who is paid to attract fans to the sport, to hype things up, to attract an audience that doesn't really understand what they're watching, that is just excited by it. So when you fill in the time by making your noise, by speculating, by hyping things up, by keeping people on the edge of their seats thinking, oh, well, this could happen, and this could happen, and it doesn't necessarily mean it could be like this. Oh, Formula One, anything can happen. Wow! That's what you do, Martin. That is what you are paid to do. There is no integrity in what you do. There is no truth in what you do. And yet, the fools, those without the ability to critically analyse the situation, they believe you because you are put forward as the expert. And me, I'm just the conspiracy theorist, because this is a classic conspiracy theory channel. That's right. So that's 48.12. Our friend here, old Colin, in the comment section, because nowhere in the rules does it say unlapping is mandatory, only that it can be done, and that if it's safe to do it, you do it, and if it's not safe to do it, you don't race, because it's not racing if you're not able to overtake. So if you don't understand that, old Adolf, if you don't understand that, that shows us all your cognitive ability, okay, your level of understanding, okay. You clearly are retarded if you don't understand that. Our friend Chasman is going to be offended by the word retarded, but that is the truth of the matter. If you don't have the ability to understand them basics, I advise you stay out of the comment section, because you're making retarded comments, and what you are doing, you're influencing the minds of other people who lack the cognitive ability to process information, and you're spreading disinformation, and you're doing so for selfish, hedonistic purposes, because it's your gratification, your enjoyment of something that you liked, but it's wrong. Ethically, it is wrong. The knock-on effect to societal values is extremely damaging. You don't understand this because maybe you've not experienced it. But trust me, as you go through life, you may experience injustice. You may realise the kind of world that we need to be bringing future generations into, and the kind of values we need to instill in people. And the values that Formula One is projecting into the world is totally the wrong values. Totally the wrong values. And when we go back to them regulations, now take a look at 48.13. When the clerk of the course decides it is safe to call in the safety car, the message "safety car in this lap" will be sent to all competitors via the official messaging system. So you believe that that one is mandatory. You believe that that one is mandatory because Red Bull told you it was mandatory. Red Bull went into the steward's appeal after Abu Dhabi, which they shouldn't have been allowed into, and they presented this as being one of their arguments, that once the message safety car in this lap has been given, then it's mandatory that the safety car must come in at the end of that lap. Well, 48.12 is also mandatory, because does this one highlighted saying this one is mandatory out of all of the regulations, but the other ones aren't mandatory, they're optional? Does it say that? No, it doesn't say that, because this one is no different to each of the previous 12 under section 48 of the regulations, the safety car regulations. This is no different to every one of them. They are the procedures that must be carried out. 48.12 wasn't carried out. 48.13 doesn't override it. Once you've not carried out 48.12, it's null and void there, isn't it? So Red Bull say that, oh, that one's mandatory, but 48.12 isn't. And you buy that because you want that to happen. You want to believe the truth in that. You're unable to assess with your own brain whether or not Red Bull are telling the truth or not. Whether or not they're projecting something for their own benefit, which is actually a lie. Nowhere does it say that these are optional. This is what you do. If it's safe, you release the lapped cars. Then you bring the safety car in at the end of the following lap. Red Bull say, no, it's absolutely right what Massey did, absolutely right. And as soon as the message safety car in this lap is sent, then the safety car must come in at the end of that lap. Where does it say that? You've missed out 48.12, which is the crux of this. But you, Adolf, for some reason, don't think that that's mandatory. Don't understand that there's a purpose behind it. Don't believe that it's for the benefit of sporting fairness. Think here that, look at this line. Also, the sporting code talks about conducting the sport based on safety and sporting fairness, so that no competitor will be disallowed the competition, right? Right. Was Carlos Sainz allowed to compete in the same way that Max Verstappen was allowed to compete? Max Verstappen was gifted the opportunity of being right on Lewis Hamilton's tail, ahead of Lewis Hamilton at one point on lap 57. Gifted that opportunity of being right behind him, so when they crossed the start-finish line at the start of lap 58, the gap separating them was half a second. When a car is behind by half a second at the start of one lap, they're within striking distance. Carlos Sainz had two lapped cars in between himself and Max Verstappen. So Carlos Sainz in third position was actually 2.5 seconds behind second position when he crossed the line at the start of lap 58. Whether or not you believe that Carlos Sainz was capable of overtaking Max, because that is your opinion. Okay? Whether or not you think that is irrelevant. The fact is, was he given the opportunity? And the answer is no, he wasn't. By being 2.5 seconds back, you don't have that same opportunity as being half a second back. That again relates to sporting fairness, so that no competitor will be disallowed the competition, right? Now I'm just going to try and make this a bit easier with you, because I know some of you, when you see some crayons, you get a bit more excited and it's probably easier for you to understand. Okay, 5 reasons why following the rules is important. So let's have a look. We all know day-to-day life can be challenging, annoying. Yes, just reading some of these twats in the comment section is mildly annoying, overwhelming, just plain hard. It's in our nature as parents and teachers to try and make our own lives and those of our loved ones easier, smoother, more efficient, less stressful. It can be so tempting to cut a corner here or there. Nothing serious or harmful, like let your child wear a shirt for a second day, serve a meal with no vegetables, let the library book go overdue, pay the late registration fee. Whilst we all make use of these options once in a while, it can be very easy to make such decisions more and more frequently, to depend on the slip and slide that can exist around rules. It can be easy to let rules take a back seat to our own convenience, or our own desires in this case. This applies in any walk of life, and it can be even more amplified in the world of education. Once we have children in schools, a relationship develops between home and school. We hope it will be positive, supportive relationship, but the relationship can take a hit if we forget that we all have a responsibility towards building a healthy relationship that works. 5 reasons to follow the rules. Number 1, kids do what they see. What message is the sport of Formula One sending to kids? What message is the sport of Formula One sending to these strap-on fanboys that have no fucking clue about what is right or wrong, but just want to get excited and want the outcome that their desires want them to have? They do what they see. Parents don't typically teach their children to break the rules, although I've seen it happen. In our most casual conversations and activities, we are constantly teaching our children. As long as they're watching and hearing us, they're learning. When children see and hear us break the rules, they will surely follow suit. This is the example given by Formula One. Breaking rules, cheating people, fraud, committing fraud, lying to people. This is the values, just obliterating integrity. This is the values of Formula One, obliterating integrity. One of the most important values that all of us should have in life. Without integrity, what are any of us? And those in the comment section, those trolls, what are you without integrity? What are you as a human being? Fucking filthy is what you are. Fucking filthy is what Christian Horner is. Fucking filthy is what Redbull is. Fucking filthy is what the FIA is. Fucking filthy is what Sky Sports Formula One channel is. All of them have zero integrity. Criminals, liars, fraudsters that are championed in this world, that are living the life of luxury. Wealthy people, willing to piss all over you, pollute the minds of your children, have that influence on them where they're brought up with no values because that is what they see. The willingness to cheat another human being in life, the willingness to lie to other human beings. What is this world going to descend into? 2, breaking the rules creates conflict. Creates conflict. They did it on purpose. They did it on purpose. You can go back throughout the history of Formula One. Crowds used to turn up at races and there was very little conflict. People would shout for the driver of their preference or the team of their preference, but there was no conflict as such. When things are clearly corrupt, it incites conflict. You think that I'm here for conflict? I'm not here for conflict. I'm not here for an argument. I'm here just to tell you how it is. I'm here to expose the true nature of what took place and the fact that it was truly corrupt. I'm not here to argue. But that was created. That situation was created because of corruption. Because breaking the rules created the conflict. Because an injustice was perpetrated and people are outraged by that injustice. Anybody with integrity is outraged by such an injustice, by such corruption. And those that liked what it produced will argue for it. And those that are outraged stand for what is correct. And the governing body who is there to uphold the correct values, what have they done? They've been criminal in their conduct. When we try to manipulate life to our own advantage, others are inconvenienced, unfairly burdened, and often angered. Who needs more conflict in their lives? Follow the rules, enjoy less conflict. But what has conflict done? Conflict has made them money. Conflict has made them money. And that applies to other global situations. Conflict makes people money. Look at what is happening in Israel at the moment. Look who is making money. Number 3, we are creating tomorrow's adults. We are creating tomorrow's adult. The sport of Formula 1. You are moulding society. You are moulding societal values through how you are fucking educating the fucking kids. You filthy bastards. You are conditioning the minds of these little pricks that jump up in the comment section, trolling away with no integrity whatsoever because of the conflict you have created through your fucking lack of integrity. It is important people in their lives regularly break rules. Sorry, if the important people in their lives regularly break rules, kids can develop it's all about me attitude, which is what you have. It's all about you, isn't it? You're hedonistic little wankers, opinionated, thinking that you have a right to be able to say what you think, regardless whether it's right or wrong, that your opinion is equally valid. It's all about me attitude. This is one of the biggest criticisms of today's millennial generation. Whether it's true or not, they seem as entitled and selfish. It's not pretty. Avoid this for your children by showing them how to do the right thing. Formula 1, have you shown people how to do the right thing? No, you've showed them the opposite of that. You fucking toxic bastards. The damage you are doing to society, Formula 1, is fucking filthy. It's disgusting. Number 4, life runs more smoothly for everyone when you follow the rules. It's a way to pay it forward. Do your part and others' lives are smoother. Thanks to each of us. Where's community? Where is that sense of standing alongside your fellow man? Where is that respect? Where is that appreciation and value of another human being? You may not support somebody because they might not be your favourite. But where is the respect to acknowledge their value, their ability, their accomplishments? People neglect that out of selfish desire. Number 5, it's ethically, morally right to follow rules. Rules are there for a purpose. If we want to raise children who are ethically and morally focused, we must model these behaviours. Now, you may be critical of me for the language I use. The language that I use is born out of frustration. Born out of absolute frustration that for almost 2 years I've been attempting to expose the corrupt nature of all this. I've been campaigning to change what took place because of the truly damaging impact that it's had. And I've made thousands of attempts to do this because this YouTube channel is just a fraction of the things that I've done. And everything that I do falls on deaf ears. Every company, every organisation that could influence this does nothing. They ignore your communications. They ignore you. And they do so because they just care about making money. They don't care about anything else. They don't care about values. They don't care about individuals. They care about money. It's all about control. It's truly disgusting. I will show you the emails that I have sent to Sky Sports F1 in the aftermath, well before becoming a campaigner on social media, well before setting up a YouTube channel. I will make videos. I will show you exactly what I have done, just to Sky Sports and to the rest of the media. And nothing gets done. And nothing gets done because of a selfish agenda to make money. Fuck people, make money. That is their mantra. It is truly disgusting. And at what point are people going to wake up and see what is truly going on here, and the fact that criminality is not being punished because they are crimes that these people are committed, and they are making money, and those that are they're mandated to investigate and punish crime are standing by and doing nothing. What are we if rules are not enforced in society? Where does society descend into? It is dangerous. It is truly dangerous. So I don't care whether or not you like me, or whether you don't like the language that I use. What I find more offensive is their conduct rather than any word that I could use. Because what is more damaging is what they're doing rather than any word that I could ever use. Look at what the true implications are. Look at the truly damaging aspects of this and determine what you're most offended by.